Today on the show, IMF approves disbursement of $248.15 million under Angola's credit facility. Ethiopia plans to issue telco licenses by year-end. Plus, Ghana and Ivory Coast halt 2020 and 2021 cocoa bean sales as minimum price up for discussion. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Business Incorporated. I'm Chimezie Obi. Well, we get the show started now with the markets. And intraday numbers show the bears maintaining their grip on the Nigerian equities market with a 0.12% drop on the index. The South African index was 0.30% higher, also at intraday, as well as the EGX30, which was up 0.31%. The KM Bourse closed 0.16% positive on Wednesday. In the Middle East, all the major markets were lower at intraday following suspected attacks on tankers in the Gulf of Oman. Saudi's share index declined 0.94%, snapping 5 days of straight gains. The index has gained over 15% year to date, outperforming its major Gulf peers in a rally led by foreign investors. The Abu Dhabi index dropped 0.54% at intraday, while Qatar's index eased to 1%. In Dubai, the index declined by 1%. And in Europe, stocks rebounded this morning as Germany's 5G auction drove the telecoms index higher, while a tanker incident caused the oil prices to surge. Well, Ulrich Batz has more to tell us. Hello, Ulrich. Good afternoon. Good to see you again.
Good afternoon.
So the oil price has spiked on reports of tanker explosions in the Gulf of Oman. How is that playing out in the European markets?
Well, here in the European market, it's playing out basically only in the oil market. You don't see traces of it showing that investors, that market participants are alarmed in the other asset areas. In equities, the market is not going a lot of places. In the FTSE, for example, in London, you have a gain of about 0.5% around this time. And the DAX is also about 0.5% higher. Quiet trading, and people also are not fleeing to so-called safe havens like gold or like treasuries. Treasuries, in fact, are going down. So the yield is going up a little. So people at the moment, it has the semblance of them not being all that concerned, but that can, of course, quickly change if the news changes and if the price of oil keeps going up. At the levels it's at, as you well know, in Nigeria, it's well below what it was in late April. So maybe there's still some leeway before people really become worried here, seeing the central role of oil on the world's economy.
Okay, Germany is now joining the big leagues in the internet world. The federal government has auctioned off the frequencies for its 5G network and taken in much more money than expected. How much effect has that had on telecom shares today?
Well, the telecom shares index was the star of the show for much of the time. The Deutsche Telekom share, interestingly enough, the one who got the most frequencies and is paying the most money in this auction, has trickled down and is basically doing nothing on the day as we speak. The Telefonica Deutschland, which also got frequencies, that's going up, though, by about 3%. And Vodafone, also a big participant, 0.8%. The biggest winner, interestingly enough, is the smallest participant, who got the least frequencies and is the smallest company. But investors here see huge potential with the 5G technology. The company is called 1&1 Drillisch. That's a very German name. You pronounce it like that. And it belongs to United Internet, one of the big tech players here in Germany. And that share was up by a whopping 16% at the beginning of trading. It's since come down as well, but it's still going up by about 7% as we speak. The government taking in 6.5 billion euros. Some people criticizing that with all that money going to the government, that doesn't leave that much leeway for the firms to invest to expand their networks. But they went along with the auction, and at past auctions, when there was also criticism of the government taking too much money in, the firms did very well on that.
Okay, the Fiat Chrysler Renault merger was called off last week. Now, is it dead in the water, or could there be a rekindling of the flame? France's finance minister was scheduled to meet with Renault chairman today. What are you hearing?
Yeah, there's no official statement out yet or any reports what transpired, if something transpired between the Renault chairman and France's finance minister, but it's well known that Renault was furious when the merger went up in smoke, when Fiat Chrysler pulled out. Fiat Chrysler being very disappointed and worried that there was going to be so much political influence from Paris, the Paris government asking Fiat Chrysler and Renault for a few days to consider consequences for France, for jobs, for areas in which factories were located. And Fiat Chrysler didn't want that. And it'll be very interesting to see how the two French participants, the minister representing the people's interest and Renault representing the company's interests, come to terms with it. I think all the parties concerned would like a merger like this, but whatever the French do, it hinges on what Fiat Chrysler says. And the French also have another big topic of contention, a bone of contention to talk about, and that's Renault's relationship with Nissan. That has to be repaired as well if Renault is to do as well in the future as it has in the past.
Well, Ulrich, hopefully they will strike a deal very soon. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the day. And the UK lawmakers on Wednesday rejected the main opposition Labour Party's bid to block a no-deal Brexit by seizing control of the parliamentary agenda from the government. Meanwhile, Conservative members of Parliament will cast their first ballots for a new leader today. Well, let's get a sense of how these have continued to rock the markets in London. Juliana has all the details.